shop. Now this week I got some shaper work. I've got some cutter grinder work. I've got some work that I do on the surface grinder, get new balls in it, and who knows what else. Let's get started. Well, got the balls out of the table. Man, it's a beautiful day out of the surface grinder, and time to clean them up. I've already done this once. I'm going to remove all these old balls and then replace them with the new. So I got to clean these holders really well because I don't want to abrade. I don't want to damage these balls with any abrasive material that's stuck in these. Chloe, please. Alright, so I'm just gonna, these pretty much are throwaways. They're pretty worn and probably, other than slingshot ammo, not really good for much. Not precision work anyway. I'll save a few. Always nice to have around. Some of them pop out a little tougher than others.
That one was easy.
Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it. These balls are packed in some sort of oil, so I'm gonna dump them out, clean them, and then install them. Alright, so everything is as clean as I can get it within reason. I'm just gonna install them. Alright, so I'm also trying to get these finished up. Should already had them done, but how that goes. Now I've already done this face and then the other face that's parallel with that. And, just using a piece of copper wire, really nice too, because I filed these sides, but they are still flame cut, and the piece of copper on the movable jaw conforms to the unevenness of the uneven surface and presses it firmly against the fixed jaw. So it's a little trick. I keep that stuff around all the time. So I got to figure out how I'm gonna get these three surfaces. Then I have to get these two surfaces here. So that's next. But I got that surface done. And that surface. This will probably be hand feeding with a compound at an angle. We'll see. Okay, so before I go any farther, I want to check this surface and this surface to make sure that I ain't goofed up and made any mistakes, because I can adjust it now pretty easy. But this is a best test Brown and Sharp half thou. Alright, so I got it at an angle that you can see. So we'll go across. Let's zero it. It's pretty good. It's within a thou lengthwise. Roundabout. Check it from side to side. This is a rough finish, or rougher. So that is -1 thou. So just a hair over 2 thou, about 2.5 thou. That's not too bad. I can live with that. Everybody's got those fancy grills. You got a grate stacked on some rocks. It works. So we got a new addition to the family. Like we didn't have enough already. But it's a green cheek conure. Pretty neat little guy. Ow! He's a little bitey, but he's pretty sweet most of the time. Oh, he just dropped on you. We'll have to clean that up. That's crazy. Like a little dog. Like a child that never grows up.
Squawk at me.
Alright. Okay, so this is just a repeat of what I had done before. Just cleaning this for a second time. You know, I tore it down and cleaned all this thoroughly when I originally tore it down and cleaned it. You know, I don't want to take any chances with grit with these new balls. I can see where the old balls rode on that surface, but I can't detect anything. But that doesn't mean anything. You know, they don't look new, but you know, we'll see. So I am going to use grease on these balls. It's really the only way that anything's going to stay on them. And I'm just going to use some white lithium. I'm not going to use a whole bunch. I don't think it'll be necessary to cover them completely. Well, I need to square this. It's a small, probably 2-inch flat on top here of these squares. I've got 2 surfaces done, and I'm using one for reference. Now, this square is sitting in the vise, but it's not sitting on machine surfaces. And I'm trying to get this surface here 90 degrees to this surface here. And the only decent way that I know to get it that way is I took my 6-inch machinist square and just lightly clamped it to the surface here, then ran the shaper over the square just to make sure that I'm good. And I'm within a couple thousand, so it's about as good as I can get it. So I'm going to undo my rig here, machine this surface, and then we'll do these 45s. I think that'd be neat. So I flipped my tool over. It's got a much larger radius on this end than on this end. It's just a double-ended tool. And I'm worried that this will be somewhat flexible, so a little sharper tool. And I'm going to be cutting probably about, I'm guessing around 80 to 100 surface feet per minute. And I'm just going to take light cuts on this like I've done on all of them. You really have to on something like this. pass on the top turned out really nice. Now it's time for me to get these two 45s. And they're a little tricky to do, a little tricky to get dialed in into where I trust. Now, there's several ways on this machine, or a few, that I can do these two surfaces. I can use the compound, which I think that I'm going to do. It's the easiest way. Just hand feed, turn it, this head rotates, and it's got a graduated scale on the side that I can easily, reference, and then fine tune in with a sine bar or these precision blocks, precision cheap blocks. What I'm going to do is rotate the vise 90 degrees. That way I'm cutting long ways. I'll turn my compound and cut down the face, and I'll show you. Alright, so I've got my 12-inch Brown and Sharp parallel here. I'm just extending out the surface that I just done. And I've got my Starrett number 20 solid square. I really need to invest in a larger square, but all I'm doing is trying to transmit my surfaces up here where I can get a good look to see if they're square. And I mean, that is pretty good, if you ask me. So that's good square. Well, it is starting to rain, of course. We've had a couple nice days though. I can't complain. This thing parallel with my movement. Just use the exposed part of the vise jaw here to square this vise back in. Wow, burning me up. And one thing about this shaper is that it's accurate. If I do my part, I can get good work out of this machine. It's not wore out. It doesn't do anything crazy. It does exactly what you ask, as long as you keep everything, good and clean and stuff. This has been the best machine I've ever bought. Within a tenth over about 4 inches, that's good enough. So here's the setup. So I just run this compound up and down that angle. It's just 45 and tweak this thing. Luckily I didn't have to tweak it. It's just hit it first time. Get you in on this indicator. So I'm good with that. Using a big adjustable Williams number 42. I love this holder. So I just made a light skin pass down this, just touching the high spots, basically touching off. But I think this is going to work pretty good. I'm just going to feed over, probably 5 thou, and feed down it. Probably take a few passes at least. Down about 20 thousandths per stroke, just trying to rough as much as I can, but I can feel these flexing just a little, so I'm trying to not damage them. This will take a while. Alright, just taking a finish pass. Didn't take too long. It's not really a fast operation, having to hand feed like this, but you can see the finish difference, just slowing down a little bit, taking my time over it. Takes all the spring back out and improves the finish. Alright, so I just finished this side. It looks pretty good. And I'm going to stem it off real quick. Do a sanity check. Make sure that it is what I want. I'm sure it is, but just for my own well-being before I go and do the other side. It is on the money. $45. So I'll take that, and I'm just gonna reverse this setup and do the other side. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. You gotta watch when you're cutting angles with a shaper like this. Now this head will go back into the main casting, and if you've got this at a steep angle, it'll tear the compound right off of this machine. So it is possible for this thing to tear up itself. You know, it'll hit these covers. I got a quick job here that I want to do, that I need to do on the cutter grinder. It's pretty simple, but I want to share it anyway. It'll be my first attempt, and in my 5C collet, in my universal fixture here, I've got a reamer. Get it out of here, and of course, you know, all reamers usually just dull right on the ends, and this is one that I need for a project. Just a small personal project that I'm doing for my dad, and of course got multiples of a lot of my reamers, but not of the size that I need, and then the one that I do have is dull. So I'm going to touch up just the ends. We're going to be doing the chamfer relief and the chamfer angle. I'm going to be putting both these in. I've already ground the end of this reamer flat. It was just, the cutting edges were just blunted. They were dull. Somebody had either run it too fast or dry or something. And the rest of the reamer looks really good. So all I'm going to do is touch up the tip. So I'm all in here, got my cup wheel running, got a little finger that's indexing off of the flute of the reamer. All I'm going to be doing is touching the front edge, of course. I've got my angles dialed in to my fixture here, so this should go quick. A little more than that. And after I've went around once, I'll go around one more time just to make sure I've got them all the same. That's it. Real basic. Hopefully it turned out good. It looks pretty good. Let me see if I can get you a closer look at that. Alright, so there's a look, as good as I can get you, I think. So I just ground that flat, ground off all the damaged area. It wasn't damaged very deep. You can see we still got part of the center left. I just had to grind it back just a little to do away with those bad edges, and then put 6 new little cutting edges on there. Alright, so I just drilled a test hole. I want to try this reamer out. This is 3/16 stainless, and if the hole that I just drilled is to size, it should leave about 0.10 of an inch for this reamer to remove. If this reamer is going to burn up, it'll definitely burn up in this stainless with this drill, because it runs it too fast. But I'm going to try it anyway, because I can always touch the tip up on it again. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure it's gonna work. It's definitely too fast. It's cutting amazing. Wow, I'll have to measure that, and let me show you the finish in that hole. Wow, I'll have to do that more often. Alright, so this is the best shot I can get you of the finish. Turned out pretty good. I'm really definitely happy with that. And I measured the hole as best as I could. I don't have a set of pin gauges, so I used my Starrett small hole gauge and then my 10ths mic. And the reamer is tagged 315/8, so 315 thousandths, 8/10. I got 316 and 2/10, so I'm 4/10 off. Now that could be the material, could be the speed that I ran this reamer, and it could be the lubricant that I used. But it definitely, the main thing is that it cut well. I can always try a few combinations and see if I can get it to cut to the size that I actually want it to. It's always a struggle, but as far as it cutting, touching that up in the cutter grinder, it really worked great. So I'm happy with that. I'm glad that I can do it actually. Okay, so obviously I got the grinder back together, new balls and stuff in it, and I haven't ground anything with it yet, but I really got to looking at this thing close. You know, I have no grinding experience, so all the grinding that I've done with this machine up to this point really was just experimental. And one thing that I noticed that confused me quite a bit when I was grinding this chuck, dusting it off, originally was that I would always get heavier sparks on the ends of the chuck than I would in the center. You know, I didn't know, but that didn't feel right to me that that the sparks wouldn't be even all the way across the chuck, no matter what I took on the you know, down feed. I thought maybe the head was settling. You know, could be an adjustment thing. I just didn't know. But what I found just by messing with this thing, now that it's got new balls and stuff in it, I can confidently say that they're not the culprit. And what I have is table rock. Typical old grinder symptoms as far as, or you know, conditions when you get wear, as far as I've read. Now, it's really only when I extend the table to the ends, you know, where I got more wear out on the ends of the ways than I do in the center, and I can take my arm and push down some weight. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but that's about 7/10 if I put an indicator here and push down. So excessive. You know, it wasn't obvious by looking at the machine that it had that kind of wear in it, but I'm not surprised, really. You know, I expected it to have some wear. So as far as precision grinding for this machine right now, anything above, you know, what I mentioned, roundabout, that's probably as tight a tolerance as this thing will hold. Now the ways in this machine, they're not something that I can really fix myself because they're hardened, hardened and ground, 2 or 3 V's and 1 flat, and they're 32 inches long. So I have nothing that will grind anything that long or anything to the precision that these would need to be. Now, when I contacted Kent, I contacted him about this this nut for the wheel. It's a 12.5 by, or it's a 12 millimeter by 1.5 pitch, left hand, and they wanted $50-something, I believe $50 plus shipping for that nut. So needless to say, I haven't contacted them about replacing the ways in this machine, and I'm not for sure I'd want to invest that kind of money in it anyway. So for now, I'm going to put this thing on hold, and if I can fix it for a reasonable amount, I will. I may just use it as is for, you know, rough grinding and stuff. It'd be perfectly fine for that. But as far as precision grinding, you know, this machine's out of commission right now. You know, that doesn't surprise me. I expected it to have some wear in it. I just didn't know how much. But you know, now I know, and it's got a fairly excessive amount. If you can get table rock in one, you know, it's pretty bad. But now that all the balls are the same, I can take that out of the equation, and I know that, you know, it's in the ways. It almost has to be, because it's not rocking the saddle, it's rocking the table. So that's a little disheartening, but like I said, not surprising. And I'm just going to have to hold out on this machine and see if there's anything that I can, you know, do to either replace these ways or have them ground. But like I said, they're 32 inches long, and they're precision grinder ways, so they'd be tough to do, tougher than what I have the capability to do at the moment. So a little disheartening, but you know, not unexpected, I guess. We'll just have to put this thing on hold for now, and that's the reason I didn't paint it, because you know, you never know what you're going to run into with an old grinder. But usually you can expect some wear, and that's what we have. So you know, we'll see. Well, they are complete other than deburring this set. They turned out really nice, definitely accurate, and they were machined in sets, so you know, they match each other. And took a little longer than I expected. You know, I had to hand feed these 45s. I did this 45s also, which you know, I didn't show, but it was the same deal. And all that's left, deburring them and boxing them up and sending them back, which is a good feeling. A little bummed about the surface grinder ways, but you know, I'm not surprised about it. I'll just have to work out something to fix it, like I do on everything that I own, really. So no big deal, I don't guess. Big thanks to the guys who went in the link in the description on the last few videos and made a donation. I definitely appreciate it. That goes straight to the bash fund, and if the trend continues, I'm definitely going to make it. Stan took us off of the possibility show up list to the 100% gonna show up list. That is my plan. I'm kind of betting on the future, but I think we're going to be able to do it. So I went ahead and we registered along with Mr. Pete, which is awesome. Can't wait to meet him and a lot of you guys. So thank you. I don't take those donations lightly, and I appreciate it. I also appreciate my patrons who stick with me. You guys make it possible for me to come out here and shoot film when I should be doing other things probably. So thank you. And big thanks to all my viewers and subscribers. If anybody needs anything, contact me through my email. And click on my little guy, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And wow, I'm looking at myself in the monitor, and I'm going to look like Bob Ross if I don't get a haircut in the next couple weeks. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.